The market right now is bringing back a lot of optimism, and especially when we look at daily movements, we are seeing green across the board. That's actually a great news. But what's interesting here is that there is a possibility that Bitcoin can do an extended wave 3, but matching the history a little bit. Why is that? And when that happens, what's going to happen in the altcoin markets? Now, especially when we look at XRP, what's happening with the SEC case right now is super interesting because right now the SEC comes out and drops this one here, right? And this is a response towards what IREMIT and the TabJet talked about towards the code of becoming an amicus. So here, SEC is cornering themselves. If you read through this, which we will do and explain what I really think SEC is getting screwed because they themselves are going to the judge and saying this. That was a bad idea in my opinion. Now, legal experts, they will give you even more better clarity on this. But we will break through that and show what really they shouldn't have done, because that's really bad for SEC. Now, on the price action side of this, it is again getting interesting. Now, we are at that resistance. As you can see here, we need to break higher. So if we are able to break higher, that's a great news, because you actually bounced from here, you came back lower, but you did not make a lower low. Instead, you made a higher low. Great. And then you're trying to bounce off, reaching that level of resistance. So if you are breaking through that, now your short-term measured move is this one, range. You take it, plot it to the upside, you go up. Great. And look at the other side at the same time. When the price is making a higher high, the RSI is giving you a double bottom signal. This is interesting to watch because as you zoom out on a 3-day, XRP is right now making a bull flag here in the price terms, and on the RSI terms, it is showing you that it is still having a lot of momentum. It did not reduce the momentum. So that is important to watch. Then you move on to the entire altcoin market. It is having a big cup and handle pattern. RSI is actually suggesting you a big W, which in technical stands for win or double bottom. Then the MACD is crossing to the upside. And that's the second time it is happening within this double bottom. That's what you really need based on the textbook patterns to become really optimistic about this asset class. So if you are here, hit that like button and let's break this down. This is the Scientific Investor family, where the normal common retail guys learn how to become the world's top 10%. So as we discuss through this, we need to have better clarity about the market one, and at the same time, you need to know what's happening with the SEC case. Now, we'll first look at this and, ask that question like, why would you do that, right? Say, if it's me looking at this, I'm like, let's read this. So you'll get that perfect picture of what's happening there. SEC comes out and put this to the judge. The SEC respectfully submits this response to motions filed by IREMIT and TabJet. So they are actually trying to become the amicus curiae for this particular case. Now, what is the arguments presented by SEC? So here, the SEC presents the arguments that without any evidence, they support that this is facts. So, they have issues validating that. But, for example, now this example from a company which operates globally, executing cross-border payments is important for a judge, for sure. 1. IREMIT purports to offer living proof that countless similar companies use XRP for cross-border fund transfers on a daily basis and claims that it does not use XRP to speculate or consider the price of that goes up as an investment, basically. Great. So you have a living proof from a company which is operating on a world scale coming out to the judge and saying, okay, we are using this. We are not using this for an investment purpose. Now, why is that so important? Because on the other side of this, you have the famous speech Hinman guy, right? Now, whether he got that 15 million and did that or not, who knows? But that's there. And it is not only for Ether, it's for the entire ecosystem. When he say, if a token is working inside a decentralized ecosystem and a lot of different people are using it inside that ecosystem as a means of exchange, it is not a security. So this actually come back to that point. So that was a clarity which actually was given by the SEC. Fine. Now the next one, Tabjet. They claims if Tabjet loses its ability to accept XRP as a fiat currency substitutes. Now that is actually a high thing to consider, which means right now they consider XRP as a fiat currency substitute or kind of a bridge currency, moving from dollar to yuan, yen, euro, that kind of stuff. Now, as you go through, you actually get the similar picture, but at the ending of this, SEC kind of, does that stupid stuff, in my opinion. They actually highlights like, finally, movements offer no support for their purported primary justification for advocating this. Great. Now, SEC highlight here that these guys are right now coming here because if XRP is deemed as a security based on its distribution. Now, understand this, distribution. It's already in the escrow, and that's where I'm like, okay, is there something cooking for that? We'll have to see how it goes on. But the way they propose this is like, okay, these guys are coming out only because if XRP is deemed as a security, they can't continue their business. Now, I'm like, okay, what is their business? Their business is using this as a bridge currency or means of exchange to move money from one country to another, not as an investment. That's a utility token which we are talking about in that area. And at the same time, SEC is saying, no, that's a security. You can't use it. I'm like, security of what company, right? So this is going to hit SEC back for sure, because the judge is like, okay, she is in full cognitive ability. She is, on fire looking at the case because they already know the facts and the rules. And, I don't think they've been going through this again and again, and they just gave SEC a blow saying, give that documents. And that's the sixth time a judge has to do that. And SEC is like, let me think, right? You can get that feeling. Fine. Now we go back to the market. Bitcoin is about $20,000 again. That's a good thing because last week you see like Bitcoin went up 6%, which is actually a good thing considering XRP is up 7%. So XRP is moving with Bitcoin or above Bitcoin, or we would say Bitcoin is following XRP because it was the first one which actually started this move to the upside, getting traction to the entire crypto ecosystem. So now, as we look at these, we need to get that clarity. Now, there is some issue with the lighting, so let's focus on the charts here. So right now, when we observe that we get a double bottom here in the RSI and the price is about to break higher in the terms of this pattern, which is actually great because then we actually go on and further we see like, okay, the market is in green, XRP is holding against BTC. We broke this level, then we continued on. We then broke this particular level. Great. That is not a small thing because we had a retest and we bounced. Then we broke through this level and tested the top here, now getting rejected. But we did not actually go make a lower low. But yeah, we did not put a higher high after that. But still, this is a higher low and we are still above the moving average. 20-day moving average on a daily. That's important because at the time, when the altcoin market is bouncing, XRP is leading this time around. And that's actually a good story. But what you are observing here is that BTC dominance is going back up. It kind of created a higher high here, which, is not that great for entire altcoin market as a whole. But for the cryptocurrency market as a whole, that is a good thing. Because as we observe Bitcoin slowly grind higher, you will see random coins bouncing. And that is saying like, okay, you will have a lot of opportunities in this market where you will see some of these coins popping here, there, and now. A couple of coins which actually dropped so hard, last 1 week, they just came back up to their levels. And it's like, okay, it's really interesting to see, say, Nest protocol. It was down like 50%, and then boom, it came back to where it was. So like, those who sold lost, and those who averaged down now, are in profit. So that's a huge thing to understand inside this market as things are getting more interesting. Now, wave 3, can it be extended? So if you look at this, the wave 1 run to the upside is like 190 days. Then wave 2 was like 376 days. If we go back to look at the history of Bitcoin, we see like, okay, 180 days, wave 1, 237 days, wave 2, and again 147 days, wave 3. So what this gives us as an idea here is like, okay, there are different possibilities inside the market. And if we are doing something similar to wave 1, it should be 180 days, but we were lower than that. So we go to the current scenario looking at this, okay, there is a possibility that it can be close to 200 days or lower, say 170, 150. So that kind of comes somewhere close to next March, which is saying like, okay, 5 to 6 months, price can still go higher if we get a confirmation of this double bottom breaking higher. So remember, inside this market, as that burst happens, it's going to be really great. Market is going to give you all that you wanted, but you need that level of patience. And I don't think like you're going to get all that you wanted in BTC with 100x or 10x, whatever. From this point, maybe you are going to get 4x, 5x max, right? But if you put that perspective correctly, you'll say, okay, from 4x, it's dangerous inside this cycle. We understand that. Even though right now you're trying to break through this, and that's a repeated try again, or if you are a little bit more optimistic, you can say it is breaking as of now. Or if you are conservative, you just take a standard deviation and look at this touch and say, okay, maybe in a couple of days or by the time this week ends or the next one starts, you are going to observe this level breaking, and that's after a long period of time. This is going to be massively bullish for the entire ecosystem. And as you observe, if XRP is closing in green for the next day, say 0.49, 0.5, anyway close to that, it is going to be another great day. If we get rejected, what we want to see is we hold back on this moving average. We don't get rejected from there. It's going to be a great scenario when we bounce through that, because it's a double bottom here. And if we go back onto a daily chart, what we can see is we are forming a pattern in which we are being bullish. Say, if you take this, connect the resistance, you already broke through that level. So this is like, okay, we made a corrective action, and the corrective action here in the price has not broken higher, but the RSI suggests that it can break higher soon. So what we need to observe in the MACD is a bounce back to the upside, which happens obviously, way many times we have seen this coming down and then bouncing back up. As that happens, you are going to see the market entirely moving up, with some of them doing these crazy numbers. But in general, you're still going to see an uptrend inside that average. Some will be above that, some will be below that, but most likely you will see average fluctuations in coins which are getting attention and volume. Right now, look at the volume for XRP. This is, interesting to watch. Say in Coin Paprika, it's close to 8 billion in volume. This is interesting because at this time you are getting like 9.7 billion for Ether, and you are getting close to 8 billion in XRP. That's a huge volume shift. So when I was talking about this, money is going to move out from something where there is a lot of uncertainty, and money is going to go into an area where people think it's going to blow off. This is literally what's happening there. Now, whether you take that or not, it's completely up to you. You can go look at coin stats and look for what the volume for XRP is being shown there, right? Now, different assets have different platforms show you different volumes, but you can kind of get the idea or the average. Here it shows you last 24 hours it's 3.8 billion in volume. So you now go to coin market cap to look at like, okay, what they show for XRP. So now you have coin paprika, which usually shows the lower, is showing you it has a lot of volume right now. And then on the other side, coin stats usually show higher than coin paprika, and it's showing you higher. Now we come here back down, and it is showing you Ether has 10 and XRP has 2 billion. So that's a huge difference, showing, okay, this one is not up. So what really is happening in the market? No one knows. But what we can do is go into this XRP and look at the marketplace at the bottom to make sure what they are showing, right? Then this is the exchanges or the markets where they actually take in the total volume for XRP for this 24-hour time period. So you see like, okay, there is a lot of volume coming in, and right now it's B2BX, and I'm like, okay, which exchange is that? I'm not actually familiar with that, but that's now 80% of the volume. So there is a possibility that may not be true. But what we want to do is come down and look at this. Because right now when you observe this volume here, this is giant volume coming from USDT, Binance USD, then, Korean won, USD, different areas the money is still flowing in. So if the volume is something like this, which is like 4 billion, it is still like, 4 times above what we saw. And if this is a glitch here, it's actually fine. But if this is close to reality, which means there is more volume coming in from one area or another, you are going to see that getting reflected in other exchanges in 24 hours. So we will follow that up in the next day to see whether other exchanges are showing you an increased volume. That is going to be important here, because as the volume increases, you now have a higher odds for a break to the upside. So you zoom in and look at a 4-hour chart here, and you connect both of these, and on a short term, you can say like, or argue that we are already breaking higher. Slowly but surely we are doing that. And if you remember, the reason we talked about a bounce was like this. You come lower, maybe here, and then bounce. But you did not actually do that. Instead, the price actually put this low here, then made a higher low, then made another higher low there. So here you got a high, then you got a higher high. Now what we want to see is, can the price put a little bit higher than that? So that's going to be another higher high inside this trend, which will most likely push the next leg with a higher momentum to the upside. Because if you observe here, we got same. You put one low, then you made a higher low, then you made another higher low, then another one, but at the same time you observe like the price is making high, higher high, another higher high, then the momentum comes in. So if we get the same, yes, we are going to see the market moving higher. So October has been generally great for the crypto market. So what we want to observe is October, November, December going bullish, and from 1 billion, what we reach in one asset. Then you look at the entire market saying, okay, from 1 trillion or close to a trillion, how high can you go? Can you really do 10, 20 trillions? Or are you going to get stopped by 8, 5 range? Because to reach 10 trillion market cap, you don't really need 10 trillion dollars coming into the market, because that's the market cap. You really understand that, right? You don't have all these coins inside the market right now, so that's not the market cap which you should be looking at. But the general consensus is you look at the market cap. So 10, 20 trillion market cap, maybe that's possible, but we will see in next 6 months to a year. By the time this cycle is over, we will know how the market is evolving. So if you are here in the market looking at this and saying, okay, I'm going to take benefit of this, I'm going to make some money here. Then if you need some help on that one, to look at different assets inside this market, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So guys, if you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done that already. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.